The ghosts of Democrat past were out and about this weekend. We spotted Kamala and Doug at a farmer's market in L.A. She doesn't look too happy. Doug's carrying the tote. He doesn't look like he's feeling the joy either. We don't judge. We don't know what Pelosi was up to this weekend, but she did get some bad news. Democrats in California are trying to put an age limit on politicians. They're not calling for elected officials to retire at a certain age, but they won't really tell us what age that would be. They swear this plan isn't aimed at Nancy, who turned 85 last month, and she looks great. But Democrats have a thirst for fresh blood. They don't like how the old guard operates. Schumer's polls are in their lowest in decades, and AOC's at her peak, 47% here. If Chuck isn't careful, he's getting primaried. Democrats are getting bruised and battered in their own little civil war, and the New York Times says Democrats have a plan for a rebrand. You ready? Democrats are trying out a new attitude. It's provocative, edgy, and perilously towing the line of not being too offensive. What's this big idea? They call it dark woke. It's basically like just being woke, but cursed like Trump. They say they're going to be more crass and rude and swear a lot. They think it makes them more authentic. Democrats say Tampon and Crockett are perfect dark woke, and the rest of the party should be like them. So Democrats should honeymoon in China, slurp milkshakes, and lose national elections. Sounds great to us. Rahm Emanuel, who's got his eye on 28, is trying to warn his party to drop the woke stuff.
We were really south on kitchen table issues. We weren't really good about the family room issues.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you 100
Okay, the only room we were doing really well was the bathroom, and that's the smallest room in the house.
That is such bullshit. That is total bullshit. That is buying into the right-wing media narrative, and I'm so sick of Democrats like you selling out and saying this. You know who talks about trans people more than anybody? MAGA. MAGA is the most genital-obsessed political party I have ever seen. We got to fight. They're the gender-obsessed weirdos, not us.
Democrats are in denial. This is the first stage of grief. Their party died in a landslide, and so did the media. No one trusts them or watches them. And unless they atone, they're not coming back.
When I see this kind of insight and passion being directed at the current administration, and the lack of this kind of insight and passion being directed at the previous administration, where, again, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about left-leaning news media organizations, or kind of like, la, 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 everything's fine, look, the environment's, look, the economy's great, la, 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 immigration's not that much of a problem, and really being Cleopatra, queen of denial.
They're not going to tell you the truth. They pass bad policies and act like they're doing you a favor. Trump killed DEI. Democrats are trying to revive it by telling you it's good for business.
Diversity inclusion initiatives are being stripped away, as we saw every day, from many places in the country right now. Why do you think they're doing that?
Well, I don't know, because it's bad business. Yeah. It's not just a moral imperative. Like, I do it because it's morally right. It's just good business. And at the end of the day, I'm a businesswoman, so why wouldn't you want to create for the growing market, not the shrinking market?
Yeah.
Elizabeth Pipko is the former RNC national spokeswoman. All right, so Eva Longoria is all in on DEI. Is it good for business?
I don't think so. I think it's funny, though, that she admitted that she's doing it because it's good for business, right? No one went out there and said, I don't care if it's good for business or not. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. She said, I believe it's good for business because I read what happens all day on X, and that's what I'm going to do. And I think that's blatantly obvious across the board.
What does dark woke mean?
I'm still trying to figure it out. You read that New York Times headline, and they basically said the Democrats are trying out a new attitude. That's literally what it is. They're trying out something new. It's almost like when parents try to hang out with like their kids' friends and try out the lingo. They're trying out something new. They're throwing everything at the wall, desperately waiting to see what sticks.
They said Republicans, and you're a Republican, former national spokeswoman, are genital obsessed. Are you obsessed with genitals? They say you talk about genitals all the time, Pipko.
Personally, no. But hey, I've been called much worse things, right? I take that over Nazi any day.
Okay. But they're saying is that it's a talking point, that the Republicans always say trans. They're always talking about bathrooms and surgeries. I mean, does she have a point? Maybe they're talking about it because they keep wanting to have surgeries performed on children.
Right. It's a talking point, and it's a great talking point, because when you try to inflict your opinions on minors and actually harm them, we're going to keep talking about it. When you try to get your sons playing with our daughters and harming them, we're going to keep talking about it. The real issue here is that they try to side with the 20% on every single 80-20 issue that comes up and then wonder why they lose elections.
Okay, when you were in high school and the parents tried to hang out with you, what would you do?
My parents are a lot cooler than me, so I don't know anything about this, but